And welcome to Illini Drive here on WPGU 1071. Ori Benatar back in the house with Will Gerard, Jake Hassan, Tommy Polson, and of course Jade Hilton, as we're ready for another edition of our favorite hour of Mondays, where we talk all kinds of Illini, all kinds of sports
My
stuff.
favorite hour is when I get to nap, actually.
Oh, come on.
This is a close second.
I slept till 1:30 today, and it was amazing.
What?
I don't have class
So
on Mondays.
nice.
So.
I slept till 11 because now I have class at 1 because I don't have my 9 a.m. anymore.
I got up
nice.
at 5 o'clock this morning.
5 o'clock. Why?
Who are you?
I had to work at the rink. I had to, zam the ice.
Okay, 5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m.
Yeah, no.
Okay, that.
He didn't wake up an hour ago.
My brain registered 5 p.m.
Well, now the question is,
Yeah, I
what
just
time?
rolled out of bed and came straight to the studio.
What time did Jade wake up?
Not that early, actually. Got to sleep in today.
Till like what, 10?
Like 8.
Sleep in till 8.
That's sleeping in.
All right. Well,
That
now,
just made me sad.
now that you know how long we've all been up, let's talk a little bit about a team that we all know is having a little bit of struggles, which is Illini football, who played in Minneapolis this past weekend against the Golden Gophers. They lost 24-17, a closer game than what the spread and what people did expect. There were a couple of nice little surprises. We saw the two-quarterback system for a little bit, which got me really hyped up because I was saying a couple weeks ago how I wanted to see some 2 QB system with Jeff George Jr. and Cam Thomas. It had its spurts where it looked like it was going to work, but then there were a couple of plays that didn't really work out so well. Cam Thomas, though, looked good running the ball. 79 yards on 10 carries. Rayvon Bonner was the workhorse, having 18 carries. He left the game with a head injury. And defensively, there were a couple of bright spots, too. We saw Bennett Williams had a tremendous game. 9 tackles in the first half. He had 14 in the game, forced a fumble. The Illini lead the country in forced fumbles per game. They're averaging about, almost 2 forced fumbles a game. Ricky Smalling played really well. But at the end, it was another away game where the Illini were close in the fourth quarter, and then it just kind of fell apart in the fourth, giving up that pick six. Cam Thomas throwing his first career interception on that late drive, and then Minnesota scoring another. They scored that offensive touchdown and then the pick six. So do you think the positives, Tommy, outweigh the negatives from this game? I think they do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, a lot of freshmen stepped up. I mean, Bennett Williams had an unbelievable
Amazing.
game. What was it?
14 tackles.
14 tackles. He forced that one fumble. He was just everywhere in that game, especially in that first half. I think he had 8 tackles in the first quarter. So obviously there are some negatives that stand out too, but overall I think that the positives definitely outweigh it.
Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it's just refreshing to see some different looks because, I mean, it was kind of getting stale, like just trying to force the same old system, and it clearly wasn't working. Also, I'd just like to mention Ricky Smalling just keeps it moving. Another 8 catches, 71 yards, another touchdown. So he's looking really good as a really great bright spot for the future. But, I mean, at this point in the season, just keep chugging along. Keep picking these small bright spots out and look for next year.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Smalling is probably the one player in this Illini team that you're seeing his performances and are thinking this guy is going to be a star in the next 2 or 3 seasons. This guy's a 4-star wide receiver recruit out of, he's from Chicago, right? Or is he?
Yeah, he's I don't remember what school exactly, but he's Chicago area.
Yeah,
for
Carmoni
sure.
Green is
Brother
the Florida
Rice.
guy.
Brother
Yeah.
Rice, yeah.
So, yeah, Ricky Smalling had 71 receiving yards, 8 catches for a touchdown. He had the most catches on the team. Second was Malik Turner, who had 4 only for 17 yards. No Mike Dudek in the game. No Pat Nelson again. Also, Tony Adams is out for the season. Also, I think we should start throwing Stanley Green's name out there as maybe the defensive player of the year because he's consistently been really good. We saw Isaiah Gay and Bobby Roundtree kind of be the bright spots in the non-conference games, but Stanley Green's picking up a lot of that load. He had 13 tackles, 1 off of Bennett Williams, and he had a big interception. Also, that Cameron Watkins interception was pretty amazing. That was very athletic. Minnesota, the game plan defensively, I thought, was really good. They tried to force Minnesota's quarterback, Demery Croft, making his first ever start to throw the ball. But unfortunately, the Illini could not stop the run again. They gave up 295 rushing yards, but I thought it looked a lot better than Rutgers.
I mean, yeah, at least there was a plan because against Rutgers, I mean, there wasn't really one, and if there was, it fell apart quickly. So, I mean, it's nice to see just some kind of semblance of a plan, some kind of game plan. It gives at least a little bit of hope for more watchable football down the road.
I was just very shocked right now. I actually just looked over at Jake's screen, and it shows that Jeff George went 18 for 23. I didn't realize he was doing that well.
No picks.
Yeah, wow. For some reason, when I watched that game, I had a very negative impression of Georgia's game. Just because I wanted to see more Thomas, but yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised. Good for George.
I thought he moved the ball well. I mean, he
Yeah.
had that one fumble where he was able to recover it, where he got hit from behind, which was, I mean, I think part of it too. I mean, he may have padded his stats on that last drive
Yeah,
where he let
yeah.
them down the
Definitely
field.
It was a second straight week where he got those last minute sort of passing yards at the end. He didn't have many passing yards throughout the game. He had a couple of plays that, again, sophomore quarterback should be making. There were some wide open checkdowns that he wasn't getting, some screen plays that weren't executed very well. But no interceptions. That's a positive for Jeff George Jr. He got sacked 3 times. Cam Thomas didn't get sacked once, but Cam Thomas did throw the interception. That decision, I still say put Cam Thomas in on that drive because he was actually at the point producing most of the offense for Illinois, and you want to sort of have that mobile option. And I thought the play call was fine. Maybe try and run the ball on that 1st and 10, but to be fair, at the point where you had that 2 quarterback system going, one PJ Fleck kind of figured out what was happening. Once they put George Jr. in, it was obviously going to be a passing play, and once they put Cam Thomas in, it was either a run up the gut with Bonner or Cam Thomas was going to run on just a quarterback draw kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the way that they used Thomas was kind of disappointing to see because, again, the rushes were nice and, he had some big runs. I think he had one that was 21 yards.
Yep.
But it almost was too obvious that he was going to run every time. I mean, he went 2 for 4 passing. And if you really want to be able to utilize a dual threat quarterback like that to his fullest, you have to be able to pass the ball with him too. So I think we'll look to see him more next week. I think this was kind of just a nice little introduction game for him, get him a little bit of reps, and hopefully we step it up again this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the next question that I kind of want to discuss is what's the plan going forward? Because homecoming this week against undefeated 5th-ranked Wisconsin, that is going to be quite a showing. It's going to be a very interesting game. We're expecting a blowout from the Badgers. They beat Illinois 48-3 last year. George Jr. threw 4 picks in that game. I personally think that Jeff George Jr. should just start the whole game for Wisconsin because I don't know if
Illinois.
throwing Cam Thomas out there for that start is tough. I say start George Jr. against Wisconsin and then give Cam Thomas a start against Purdue.
That's dumb, though. I mean,
why?
Because then why even get his feet wet against Minnesota if you're not going to let him, if you don't expect him to play at all in Wisconsin? I argue that they got his feet wet against Minnesota in preparation to start.
I don't think he starts against Wisconsin. I think he comes in the game late, assuming it's a 3-touchdown game by the first half, which is very possible because Wisconsin, again, this could be the best team in the Big Ten. It is probably still Penn State, but Wisconsin's a very close second at this point in time. I'd say give George Jr. the start again, because he has the more experience. He has played against this team before. He's played against higher opposition. I think maybe get Cam Thomas a couple more reps against the Badgers for homecoming weekend, but I think Cam Thomas should be the starter against Purdue because, again, we assume the Boilermakers are going to beat us back in September, and it looks like it could be a winnable game because Purdue also lost to Rutgers. They gave up a lot less points, but that Purdue-Illinois game could be competitive again.
Yeah, no, I was kind of laughing because I got chirped a little bit about us losing to Rutgers by the Purdue people, so it definitely felt good to watch them lose. But I think that personally for this week, I think Cam gives us the best chance to win. I think that when you're facing a defense like Wisconsin that has some strong linebackers and some guys that'll get pressure on you, especially with we even noted how turnover prone George has been. I think that could get real ugly real quick if he gets rushed a lot, throws up a lot of deep balls. We saw him do it a few times against Minnesota. Obviously, they weren't as strong of a defense, so it didn't necessarily come back to hurt him as much. But I think it could be pretty bad if George does end up playing.
I mean, I do understand why you maybe wouldn't want to start Cam against Wisconsin because they are 5th ranked and they're such a strong team. But if he doesn't play at all, it's just such a questionable move as to why you played him against Minnesota then. I mean, it just seems like the Minnesota game was a lead-in to this.
Yeah, I can understand that. We're not going to know until kickoff when Illinois goes on the field for the first time because Lovey didn't budge today about who's going to start. No one's going to find out until the game on Saturday where the Great Ghost uniforms are going to be back. And for the 107th Illinois homecoming, wow, that's a lot of homecomings. But that's another quick question. Which gray uniforms look better, the Illinois ones or the Ohio State ones?
Ohio State's look really nice.
I love
I like
Ohio State
Illinois.
ones.
I do. but I like that Ohio State kind of added in those little touches of red in there too.
Oh, those red Buckeye
and like if Illinois
stickers?
would
Ooh.
add some orange on ours, it would look so good.
Yeah. Well,
Like
where,
it has a lot of potential going forward, but I think they could definitely add more to kind of mimic what Ohio State did with
yeah,
theirs.
where would you add the orange, though? Because I really like the look of the gray eye with the navy blue helmet.
Let's see. Let me look it up.
Because, I don't know. I love the red sticker touch from Ohio State as we're talking about aesthetics here now, which is always kind of fun. If you add the orange maybe on the pants or something, or a little bit in the numbers on the top, I think that would look really cool.
I think you make like the BTN, the numbers. I don't know if that much.
They have a
necessarily.
hint of orange on the sleeves and the collar, but even doing like an orange stripe in the middle of the helmet and making the numbers orange, I think that would make it look really, really cool.
Yeah, I think you'd make it pop a little bit better.
So that's
Some
some,
like orange gloves.
yeah, and that's something Illinois football has always been winning at the past couple of years. They do have some of the nicest uniforms in the Big Ten. They have a great uniform combination with Nike, and that's always really fun to watch. Whereas basketball also has some cool uniforms, but I think football kind of beats them a little bit. As we're going to do a quick little basketball thing here, Aya Dosunmu is coming to Illinois. He announced on Thursday evening. You heard Isaac Trotter and Luke and Naya and Eli and Alex all reacting to that Thursday night, and they were really excited. We were all really excited about it because this is a big-time deal for Illinois basketball. But then you've got the next recruit, Talon Horton-Tucker, who has said he will announce his decision another Thursday night. This time at 6:30, so it will be during Illini Drive, and I'm sure all those guys are going to be reacting to
How
that.
come we never get any of those like spots? Like it seems like
We
we
can
miss
ask.
out.
We can ask him to reschedule for Wednesday, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we should.
message Horton. Hey, to be fair, when we had the Tuesday, Thursday
All right, I
slots
think
last year, we got some of the
I think we should just switch with them. We should just like play the alpha card. Like we should just tell
play
them
the
that
alpha card,
we're-
tell them to do Wednesday, and we do Thursday.
No, we just take Thursday. We don't even concede a show. We just take it.
I'll consider it, but probably not. Let you know, each
It's an
team.
alpha pod. This is an
Yeah.
alpha show.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, think about it. They have the advantage.
This is first team. Their second team.
Yeah, but they have.
This is varsity. That's JV.
Oh no,
I
that's,
didn't go that far. This
you
one's
re-
all Jake.
that's not. You really think that we were JV last year, the Tuesday Thursday crew? I don't
Well,
know.
no, but they didn't know that.
Oh.
The Monday Wednesday crew didn't know that.
I
We
don't know.
always knew.
You think we didn't know that? Is that what you're saying, Jake?
Yeah, remember this. is a
Will was our
Monday-
man on the inside.
Yeah, Will was the man. I mean, he was the only one here Monday, Wednesdays last year. The rest of us, were Tuesday, Thursday bunch. We're used to the Tuesday,
wasn't even
Thursday.
there.
To be fair, during
I
football
stand by
season,
my comments.
like Mondays, you get to talk. You get to be the first voice that people hear talking about the football results. But we got to be able to live announce the college football playoff rankings on Tuesdays. You weren't on the show with us then, Jake.
We also
But-
air on UPTV, which we will.
I mean,
be
that's the big thing.
soon.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's the Monday sort of. You get to be on TV, and you get to. My boss Aaron Stevens, who's a chef at Hillel, he saw me at the Urbana bar, and he's like, "Hey, you're on TV," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That happens every Wednesday." But let's talk about Illini basketball now, and Talon Horton-Tucker's announcement on Thursday evening, which the second team is going to announce. That's confirmed. We're not canceling their show.
Yeah, you just.
Well, I'm saying this.
Confirmed.
They're the second group of people that have Illini Drive. We are the first. I'm not comparing. It's like apples and oranges, man. They're both fruits, both different.
Whoa.
Nah.
Nah, I don't know. I was trying to find
forced.
a metaphor, simile, or any sort of English term, but it didn't work. But Tommy, what do you think of THT's chances of coming to Illinois between Illinois, Xavier, and Iowa State?
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. All three schools have a lot positive going for them. Iowa State, they already have signed two other guys out of Chicago that he's pretty close with. He's visited them a few times. He's said he likes them a lot. Xavier is the same way. They actually haven't landed anybody for this class yet, which I think will hurt them in the long run. But he said the whole time he likes Xavier a lot too. I mean, they were one of the first ones to get in on him early. Both schools have been recruiting him for like 2+ years now. So, but Illinois, it looks good. I mean, from everything I've read and seen and heard and everything, he really enjoyed his visit this weekend. He liked it a lot. He liked hanging out with Mark a lot, like Smith and Frazier and everybody. So it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's really a front runner right now. I think any three have a viable chance at landing him. But I think Illinois' coaching staff and all the fans should feel pretty good about where they're at in his recruitment.
Do you think that the George Condit to Iowa State factor, because this is Talon Horton-Tucker is an in-state guy, Condit was an in-state guy who went to Iowa State, and according to 247 right now, their crystal ball says Iowa State 57%, but then they have Michigan State second, so I don't know how current that is.
It's pretty outdated, I think, honestly. if you want to play the in-state card, I mean, he played Mac Irvin together with Io forever, so they know each other pretty well. I don't necessarily think Condit's a really big factor in it because he wasn't as big of a recruit as Talon really is either. But, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Since we already got Io and we land a guy like Talon Horton-Tucker, this could be like a top 15, 20, even 10 class.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, those two alone are both top 100 players, both very talented and very projectable. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Iowa State has the advantage with a guy like Condit, but it's definitely going to be a close recruitment. It's going to be a close call.
I think Illinois has a nice edge because small forward is one of the positions that Illinois don't really have a defined player at. Even though Underwood does play positionless basketball, you kind of do want players that do have that defined position. Horton-Tucker is a small forward. He's only listed as a small forward.
At the same time, too, though, he's one of those guys that could play anywhere from the 1 through 4. He's like that skilled in terms of he can dribble, he can shoot, he can finish at the rim. He's going to probably get a little bit bigger, too. He still has to fill a lot of that 6'5", 6'6" frame. So I think that he will like the fact that Underwood's system is very positionless, and he would fit in very well with it. Like, honestly, he's probably the perfect fit for like their typical small forward for him.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely be a big factor for him.
I think that's just the reality, though, of basketball now. Basketball is really shifting into a sport where every single player needs to know how to do everything. Because we're seeing in the NBA, centers are shooting threes, and we're seeing point guards get double-digit rebounds. And we're also seeing big men get assists. So I think now what you want to see in a basketball recruit, the game's changed a lot. They need to know how to shoot from deep. They need to know how to, guard in the post. They need to know how to rebound, all that kind of stuff. It's no longer, if you're a point guard, shoot, pass. If you're a center, just park in the post and dunk kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's, again, he's the perfect example for that, where he could play realistically anywhere, but probably the center on the floor.
So, yeah, Talon Horton-Tucker will be announcing his decision Thursday evening at 6:30 as the Illini look to get their second commitment for the 2018 class. When we come back, though, we're going to take a quick break. We'll talk a little bit about the upcoming World Series. We'll get some picks about that, and then afterwards we'll do some final thoughts right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive, your destination for Illini sports. Tommy forgot that the Astros made the World Series.
So once the Cubs lost, I was just I just couldn't watch baseball anymore. Like, it makes me sick. And so I just assumed that the Yankees won because they looked so good. I thought they were winning the World Series. And yeah, my bad.
Yeah, they're not. It's not happening. We couldn't buy a run in Houston.
Face.
We could not buy a run at Minute Maid Park. Justin Verlander destroyed us.
Ori's face when Tommy goes, "Are the Yankees in the World Series?" First of all, I thought you were like jabbing him at first.
Oh,
and then
no,
I
I
saw
was
your
being
face,
100%
and I could see you were
serious.
sincere.
Oh, CC lost? No.
Yeah.
He did not look good either.
No, CC did not pitch well at all. That's like one of the worst pitching performances I've seen from someone who only gave up one run.
7-1 and 4-0. I'm sorry. I mean, if it makes you feel better, we went out 11-1.
Yeah, but you know what?
And it also should make you feel better that this is a successful
It
season.
is a
for the
successful
Yankees, no
season.
matter what,
After the game ended, after it was like 4-0, I was just like, you know what?
Oh, wow.
The season was a success. We overachieved. We came back against the Indians. Fine, I'll take it. Let's just get better for the future and win the AL next year or the year after. So, but
Oh, that was so funny.
the Cubs and the Yankees are both
Sorry.
out, so none of us here are going to be really. We're going to be paying attention to the World Series, but not to the same extent as we
I'm
would
not.
No, we have a
liked.
Yasiel
I'm still
Puig
here.
fan.
Well,
in the
Jake
studio.
is.
I still exist.
You still exist, but you're not a Houston or LA diehard.
I'm still gonna watch every.
Well, I'm going to watch every game too, but I'm not going to be as focused on it as if it were the Yankees. But Dodgers v. Astros, either Houston gets their first World Series ever. It would be the third title in the city of Houston's history. They haven't won a professional sports title since the Rockets in 1995, whereas the Dodgers are trying to win their first World Series since 1988, which was the series that Kirk Gibson hit the home run against the Oakland A's, and Tommy Lasorda led his side to win the World Series. So Dodgers v. Astros, it is the first time since 1970 two teams with over 100 wins are meeting in the World Series. First thing, Jake, do you expect this to be an exciting World Series? Can it top last year's?
I mean, this has a good chance to go 7. This has a good chance to be even more competitive than last year because last year the Indians went up 3-1, and then the Cubs stormed back, so it didn't really get exciting again until Game 7. I think every single one of these games is going to be hard fought and go down to the last few frames. There might be a couple lopsided scores, but I mean, all in all, I think it's going to be a very competitive series. That's going to be really exciting to watch.
Which player do you think is the favorite to win the World Series MVP?
If you say Justin Turner, I'm going to throw up all over you.
No, I think for Houston, Verlander.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. And then I think, it could be anyone on
the Dodgers. Could be Altuve, too.
It could be Altuve. It could be Correa. It could be Springer.
Yeah, Altuve was a little off at the end there in the ALCS.
I feel like he's going to come back hot.
Right, same. I think he has the time off now to get his thoughts
He might
together.
not get on base once. I think he could very well just get on base every at
the
bat.
favorites have to be Verlander and Altuve for Houston. Springer and Correa will obviously be considered too. For LA, it's Kershaw, then Seager.
Kenley.
I think Kenley Jansen.
Even Puig.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Yasiel Puig this series. He got hot down the stretch at the end there, and then has just been hitting the ball all over the place all postseason.
I honestly think that Kenley Jansen, if this went to 7 games, he could pitch in every game. I would not be surprised if.
Dave Roberts won't be afraid to use him that way either.
No, and Kenley Jansen, if the game is close, if you're losing or you need to close it out, he's coming in the game. Kenley Jansen could pitch like 7 innings or 8 innings, not give up a hit, and get like 10 Ks and win the World Series MVP. He's that good.
Every night, Kenley Jansen can go 2 innings. Every single night. That's just how good he is. That's because he's just that durable. He always has been his whole career. He's just got that ability.
Well, either way, I think it's going to be an excellent World Series. There'll be some exciting games here and there. There'll be a couple blowouts, but I think we're going to see, a mix of everything. Kind of like last year's World Series. We had a couple of games that were a lot of runs. We had a couple pitching duels, some exciting, surprising moments. I still don't think anything's going to top that Game 7 last year between Cleveland and Chicago, because that was the best baseball game I ever saw.
Too many things went.
I cried like 3 separate times in that game.
What were the 3 times you cried?
So
the Davis home run.
Davis home run.
Rain delay.
The win.
Probably the rain delay, and then when we won.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cried so much when we won. It was great.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Just so many differing factors came together in that Game 7, though, like the rain delay and the lead change and all that. So, it's going to be really, really, really tough to top that level of drama, but I think overall it's going to be a better series than we saw last year.
I think it'll be very close. I think maybe the quality of baseball overall is going to be better, because these really were the 2 best teams in baseball consistently throughout the entire season, because Houston and LA both started the season off really hot, and LA kept that going until about August, and Houston was kind of still good but not amazing.
Houston was shaky down the stretch too.
Yeah, but these 2 teams started the season and you're like, oh, whoa, Houston and LA, watch out for them. They were playing really well in April, May, and June. Before the All-Star break, they were nuts. But let's get some World Series picks here, because we want to save enough time for the score update and some final thoughts, because we have a lot of good final thoughts to talk about. Let's start with Tommy here. Dodgers, Astros, who's winning it all?
As much as I almost want to pick the Dodgers because I like Bellinger and some of their players a lot, I just can't get over how much I hate Justin Turner right now. So I'm going Astros in 5.
Wow.
Jake?
I feel really good about them right now. I just think their pitching matchups are perfectly set up for them right now, and they should feel pretty good about themselves.
I think it's going to be Astros in 7.
Astros in 7. What happens in Game 7?
You just get Keuchel and Verlander back to back. That's what happens. Verlander, one of the 2 comes out of the pen, and then you get Chris Davinsky and Ken Giles at the end.
Yeah.
I'm sure LA will counter with Kershaw and Hill, but
Darvish
or all 3. It's just there are a lot of ways this can go, and both managers, Dave Roberts and AJ Hinch, are both very progressive, new era baseball managers. So any number of things can happen.
All right, Astros in 7. Will?
I'm going to say Astros in 7 too.
Interesting. Okay. Let's hear from Jade, because she did win the picks last year, so she's probably going to get it right.
I'm going to go Dodgers.
And
7.
Ooh, okay, sweet. Just like Tommy, as much as I hate the sight of Jose Altuve's face and bat and beard after the Astros just smacked the Yankees in Game 6 and 7.
You're not bitter, though.
I'm not that bitter, because at least we got to the ALCS.
I'm pretty bitter.
Yeah, but come on, the Cubs won the World Series last year.
The thing is, too, with that, not to distract you from what you're saying, but, it's still the 3rd straight LCS.
That
We're
you've
the new
been to.
Giants. We're going to win every other year. I'm cool with that.
But
That's
more
fine.
consistent.
Right.
More consistent than the
We're
Giants.
just going to win
yeah.
every other year. I'm okay with it. It's whatever. Lock it in next year.
I got to go with Dodgers in 6. I think they're playing way too good baseball. I think the Astros are not going to be able to win games on the road at Dodger Stadium. LA's only lost one game this postseason so far in the 8 that they've played. They look really good. I think Darvish is going to pitch really well in Game 3. I think Kershaw is going to blank Houston tomorrow in what could be the hottest World Series game ever recorded. It's supposed to be 87 at first pitch at Dodger Stadium. It's 102 right now in Los Angeles, which is crazy. So, yeah, I'm going Dodgers in 6. I think that Kenley Jansen wins the World Series MVP. He's going to pitch 7 innings, not give up a hit, and not give up a run the entire series. He is like a more durable Mariano Rivera for the Dodgers. So those are all yeah.
Not giving
Big comparison.
I know. For me, it's a big comparison.
I just put a poll out on Twitter. So, guys, make sure you vote. So far, we have 100% for the Astros.
Of how many votes?
2.
Hey.
But hey, it was just posted. There'll be more in there. Yeah, I know. It's a big comparison. Mariano Rivera is one of my favorite players and
But I mean,
greatest
Kenley
closer
Jansen
ever.
has the numbers like that. You can feasibly put them in the same conversation.
Definitely. I think Kenley Jansen has a chance to get close to the top saves record over Hoffman and maybe even Mariano. But we'll see as his career rolls on. But we're going to roll along with a commercial here. And when we come back, we'll get a score update from Jade. And then we will do our final thoughts when we return to Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive. Here's your score update. In hockey, the Chicago Blackhawks defeated the Arizona Coyotes 4-2 on the weekend. They face the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow at 9 p.m. And in basketball, the Chicago Bulls fell to the San Antonio Spurs 87-77 on the weekend. They take on the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Jade. Yeah, that Bulls-Cavs game is going to be rough for Bulls fans. At one point,
Stop
though,
it.
the ESPN app said the Bulls scored 626 points against the Spurs. If we all saw that on Twitter, because I did, and I was laughing my head off because I thought that was hilarious. We're going to go to final thoughts now, and we're going to begin with our producer, Will Gerard, because the Lonzo hype train is starting to become a little bit more of a reality.
I've been riding this train for a while.
Yeah.
I'd like to declare myself the conductor of this train, actually. I firmly believe that Lonzo is going to win Rookie of the Year. Despite,
with you,
LA probably winning, 40 games a season.
40?
Best case scenario. I don't know. They might
40
even do
games
worse.
isn't that bad.
I know. I'm like 30 or 35.
Okay, well, 30, 35. There you go. But in his second game, he scored 29 points. He had 11 rebounds, 9 assists, almost put up a
That
triple-double.
was against the Suns, though.
It was against the Suns, but still, the way he orchestrates the offense is really something that I enjoy watching. He's a guy. He's able to push the ball and get the Lakers out running in transition. I think once they start to get more guys around him, that offense could be really dynamic.
Who do you think is the biggest front runner for Rookie of the Year besides Lonzo? Who's like riding his tail?
It's not Markelle Fultz.
It's definitely not
He has
Markelle
been
Fultz.
Trash.
Who's the guy
Ben
playing
Simmons?
for the Clippers? You know his name? Is like
Teodosic.
Yeah.
I think he's out for the
Milos,
year.
he's also
he's out for the year?
33.
Ooh.
He's 33, and he just got injured. Like they said, indefinitely. That's
Yeah.
what I heard.
And Dennis Smith Jr. might be injured too. So Lonzo might run away with this thing. But I
Lauri
think
Markkanen?
Lowry, maybe.
Lowry,
I think
Baby Dirk.
I think Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is playing really
Ben
well.
Simmons could.
Yeah, I think
Is Dario still a rookie? No.
And
No.
he's injured
He
too.
played enough.
He's not been
Anyway.
playing well at the start of the season. Sixers are 0-3. Actually, they haven't won a game because also their number one pick has turned out to be not great. His free throw motions is pretty terrible.
That form is
Awful.
atrocious.
Horrible. Like he's a point guard and shooting 50% from the line. That's
Ben Simmons hasn't been doing
no.
great. He's been playing well. He's not been tearing it
I think
up,
Ben
though.
Simmons is like I saw some crazy stat. He was like the 9th player in NBA history to do something in his first 3 games. I don't remember what it was, but he's getting close.
He's doing well tonight. 10 minutes, already 4 for 6.
Yeah, he's getting
4.
close to triple doubles.
Jason Tatum might be a major role player
yeah.
for the Celtics,
Yeah,
especially now there's
yeah.
no Gordon
Oh,
Hayward.
he's starting now. I mean, him and Jaylen Brown are probably starting, and he's going to get a lot
They both
more.
are.
points.
Jaylen Brown looks really good.
Jaylen Brown is playing really well. He's starting to show why he was a 3rd pick in 2016. Yeah, so a couple rookies. Josh Jackson's played okay for the Suns, but they're just a whole nother story. We'll get to that a little bit later. So, yeah, Alonzo playing all right for the Lakers. Let's go to Tommy now, who wants to give Alonzo shout out, but also, if it's Tommy, we know what he's talking about.
I mean, yeah, shout out Lonzo, but my final thoughts on Josh Adams and how he should be talked about so much more for the Heisman. This kid's been unbelievable this year. So Saquon Barkley, current favorite by most sites as the one to win. His numbers, let's see. So rushing strictly, obviously you have to account for his receiving too, which it doesn't in this stat. But Saquon, his rushing stats are 117 attempts, 757 yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns. Okay, pretty good, right? So Josh Adams, who has sat out 9 quarters this season already, has 105 attempts for 967 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Right now, Notre Dame, or they have Josh Adams as 40-1, which is 7th best odds.
40-1.
Yeah.
That seems
Put your money on Josh Adams. If you're a betting
I got the
man.
receiving for you too.
Yeah.
Saquon, 32 catches for 448 yards.
Which is very strong.
3 touchdowns. Josh Adams, 9 catches, 84 yards.
Yeah, and see, Adams is not as much a receiver. He's more a pure running back than Saquon is. But at the same time, you have to factor in that Adams has sat out 9 quarters, and they've also played much better competition. Penn State's played one ranked team this week when they won, and Notre Dame has already played Michigan State, who's now in the top 15.
USC,
who they murdered this week, and Adams had an unbelievable game this week. They've still got NC State, Miami, Navy, who's just now unranked, and Stanford, who are all ranked this year. I don't understand how Josh Adams does not have higher odds in this.
It'll get there. I think now that Notre Dame is a top 10 team, and if they get more of those wins, then Josh Adams will be in the discussion. But if Penn State keeps winning, then Barkley's just going to run away with it. If Barkley, though, has a bad game against Ohio State this weekend, Josh Adams' chances will get a lot higher.
And the thing is, though, like they don't even have him as like a top 3 candidate, which doesn't make sense. They've still got Bryce Love, who is obviously very good. They have him as the favorite now at 2-1.
Well, because he's just killing it with the stats. He's got like a crazy amount of, I don't know his exact rushing yards, but I heard he's on pace to maybe break the rushing yards record for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, to me, like I feel like you have to factor in who they've played, plus considering that Adams hasn't even played 90s quarters, which equals to 2 games in a quarter.
Yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable.
And
He's
got
already
900 yards.
He's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Bryce Love's got over 1,300 yards, almost 1,400.
Yeah. How many touchdowns?
So he's
11.
Wow.
On
So
135 carries.
But that's in the Pac-12.
He's averaging 10 yards a carry.
So is Adams.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 9 something.
I think either way, it's safe to say a running back's winning the Heisman this year.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can say, which I think is awesome. I love when non-quarterbacks win MVPs or Heisman trophies.
Who's been the best quarterback? I mean, Darnold fell off.
Darnold had a good week
Even
this week.
Rudolph
but
fell off.
Yeah,
too.
Darnold's not going to the NFL now because like USC's had a really. We all
You
thought
don't think
USC
Darnold's
was
going to go to the NFL?
No, I think
They just said today that
Yeah.
Darnold said he's probably going to stay at USC.
I don't buy that until
unless
the
he
season's
goes
over.
off over these next 2
He's
years.
had a good. I think he's having a good enough year that whoever needs a quarterback will still pick him in the first top 10 picks.
Yeah,
If he doesn't, that's good news for Baker Mayfield, though.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's still saying Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in that class, even
Jackson's
though
not a good
Louisville's
quarterback.
kind of fallen off the table. Lamar Jackson has no chance of defending the Heisman, which means Archie is going to stay as the 2-time Heisman winner for another year, which is fun.
Johnny Manziel should have gotten 2.
Don't mention his name. Please don't. No Johnny Manziel for me. But let's go to Jake now. Rookie quarterback for Johnny Manziel didn't work so well for the Browns, but Mitch Trubisky seems like he's working okay for the Bears right now. Little Bears talk. They got another win this weekend against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, he's working well, but he needs to throw the ball more than 7 times. Like, it's unbelievable.
Didn't he have 4 completions?
4 completions, 7 attempts. And he's had 12 completions over his last 2 games.
Over his only 2 games.
No, 3. He's got 3 games.
3.
He's undefeated on Sunday.
Oh,
so.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 weeks, he's thrown the ball 23 attempts. And his first game against Minnesota, he had 25, which is just, I don't understand how you're going down in those pass attempts. It doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, the defense is good, and Howard and Cohen are good, but the offense could really open up if you just let Trubisky eat. Like, just let him do his thing.
The one deep throw, too, was
That
unbelievable. It was
one
perfect.
deep throw
It
to
was
Cohen
beautiful.
was unbelievable. Like, that lead was beautiful. And it's just, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, they're still winning, but come on. I mean,
Yeah, let him throw a little bit more.
Just let your rookie quarterback, who you're pinning the future of the franchise to, let him grow and let him actually throw the ball around. It has 2 wins in the last 2 weeks. Arguably should have won the Minnesota game. If not
Only
for that
quarterback
pick.
that's never lost on Sunday.
Only quarterback's never lost on Sunday.
I'm sure
I think
that's
I
not true.
It is.
I mean, I just think like the Bears. I think the Bears would only have one loss if Trubisky was starting from the beginning of the season.
How sold are you on the Bears defense? Because I'm like
Very.
thinking
They're
about
good.
picking
Very.
like,
Eddie
you think they're,
Jackson
like, a
looks
good fantasy
unbelievable.
football edition then?
Yes.
I mean, they're free agent.
I've been starting them since week 1. They're so good. Eddie Jackson is the best safety in Bears history already.
Looks like I'm about to put him
don't hate
at
on
waiver
Mike
claim
Brown.
right now.
Okay, second. Eddie Jackson's the second best safety in Bears
first?
history already.
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown.
yeah.
But I mean, this Bears defense is unbelievable. Like the front seven is really good. Akeem Hicks is a monster, and now they're actually getting takeaways. Like they're making picks, they're forcing fumbles. So if they had this defense, which they have had all season, with Trubisky since week 1, the Bears would be at the top of the division. Bears would be on track to be a playoff team.
And
The thing is, I still don't think that's out of reach, considering
They
I
could
don't
win
think it
the
is either,
division.
but I think because Green Bay, Rodgers is out, so they're going to fall off the table.
Hundley looks terrible.
Hundley looks awful. Minnesota, I mean, Trubisky almost beat them 2 weeks ago on
Yeah.
Monday night in his first ever start. Like, he would have beat Atlanta because Glennon almost beat Atlanta. Still would have beat Pittsburgh. I think, despite getting blown out against Tampa, I think that was more, again, an effect of Glennon starting. I think we would have won that game. And then thus far, I mean, it's still the same. Like, it's just really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because now we're kind of, like Tommy said, they still have a chance, but, I mean, you're hoping Minnesota falls off.
And 3-3.
3 and 4.
3 and
3 and
4.
4.
I did not expect the Bears to be 3 and 4 by week 7.
I didn't either. I thought
No.
we were talking about the Browns winning more games than them. That's how bad we thought.
I made that my guarantee, and I'm
And I
immediately.
told you how foolish you were for
Yeah.
saying that.
See,
I'm
I
regretting
almost
that
agreed
now.
with you at the start, but I mean, now that I'm seeing how good this defense is played and all that stuff, I mean,
it's not even just that.
awesome.
You're just seeing how bad the Browns
the
are.
perfect opportunity for Trubisky to actually like come out and throw the ball at the Saints on Sunday.
Oh,
because
he could get
the
some
Saints
touchdown
have
passes there.
arguably one of the worst defenses in the league. Their secondary is terrible. And then I mean the Packers, the Lions, both at home, at the Eagles, which would be tough, but then the Niners, Bengals, Lions again, Browns, Vikings. Those are the
We
only.
might only lose 3 more games.
We might only lose one. I mean, because depending on if because Rodgers isn't going to be back.
I'm so sold on the Bears winning the Super
We
Bowl.
sound like
Like,
this sounds a lot
Like-
similar to when we were talking about the Illini after they beat Western Kentucky
come
bowl
on,
game,
this-
man.
okay, but
oh my God.
who do the Bears really play? The Lions are average.
They play the
Eagles-
Browns when they're going to be 0 and 14 when we need one win.
Yeah, good luck. At
Browns
home,
get-
at Soldier Field.
I don't care.
At Soldier Field when that stadium's packed
That's
again
our
because the
one
Bears
win.
are going to be going.
That's
on an
our
insane
one win
run
this
to the
season.
playoffs.
Stop it.
Because the only 2 really tough games I see are the 26th of November at Philadelphia,
Who might be the best team in the NFC?
who might have an MVP. In
I'd
Carson
love to
Wentz.
see. I'd love to see Carson Wentz win the MVP.
Yeah.
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 And then I think the last game of the season at Minnesota because I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be back by then, and that might be a really tough game too.
I think in Detroit might be tough too.
Detroit, I think, is probably the favorite to win the division right now, in my opinion.
but the Bears always play Detroit tight.
We do.
So
They're also only 3-3. Wow.
exactly.
This is very
see what I mean?
reach.
You're like,
Oh my God.
who does Minnesota play? What's Minnesota's schedule look like? Hold on. Now we need to go down.
I'll pull up Detroit's.
Now we need to go down this
So-
rabbit hole because if Minnesota falls off, like you said, they're only 3 and
Detroit's got a tough schedule left. They've still got Pittsburgh, Minnesota, at the Ravens, at Tampa Bay,
Ravens isn't that tough.
in Cincinnati, and in Green Bay.
In
Or
Cincinnati.
I'm sorry, home against Green Bay to finish it.
So are the
Detroit's
Packers
3-3,
dead
right?
without Aaron Rodgers then?
Yes. Hundley's terrible. Their defense is terrible.
Yeah, they're finishing bottom 2 in the North.
Packers stink.
The Vikings are 5-2. They got the Browns next weekend, so they'll win that. At Washington, which isn't a guaranteed win. The Rams have been really good.
Rams are second best in the NFC
then
behind
the
Philly.
then the Lions, then the Falcons, which the Falcons haven't looked great, but I still think that they can play Minnesota tight. At Carolina, which will be a tough game because Carolina's always a tough place to play. Versus the Bengals, which Minnesota probably wins. At Green Bay, which Rodgers might be back by then. The Bears have the luxury of not having to play Green Bay late. So if Green Bay's in the cellar and then they have Rodgers and they come out and beat Minnesota and in Lambeau, and then they have the Bears on the last week of the season, that last game might decide the division. Let's go.
So
Let's
ridiculous.
go.
All right.
This is the
I'm-
last thing I would have thought I'd be saying.
I'm
in
hitching
the
the
end of
wagon to Mitch
October.
Trubisky
All right,
and the
fine.
Bears defense.
I'll go ahead and I'll do exactly what you did. Browns are 0 and 7 right now. We might go 9 and 7. You know, we're playing Minnesota, we're playing Detroit
They're
against
both-
Jacksonville
Yeah.
at home at the
Jacksonville's been
Bears.
good.
Jacksonville's
No,
unbelievable, right?
Browns are winning one game. We're gonna beat the Bears on Christmas Eve.
I'll cry.
That's our win.
I will cry.
If that's our one win, I'll take
Wait,
it.
where is that? Is
It's,
that
it's
in Chicago?
It's in Chicago on Christmas
You're
Eve.
not winning that game.
chance.
You're not winning that game.
No, we're gonna
No
win that
chance.
The
game.
Bears always come out playing well on holidays.
But so did the Browns. They got their one win last year on Christmas against the Chargers.
Okay, so tell me, which combination of quarterbacks are the Browns going to use for that game? Is it going to be Kaiser and Hogan, or Kaiser
we're gonna
and
bring back-
Kessler,
no,
or are they
we'll
going to bring back Osweiler and retainer because they're
we'll-
still
we'll
paying
have-
him, what, $17 million?
No, we'll put Johnny in the first. We'll put
Okay.
Brandon in the
Okay.
second. And
So
let's-
you're not serious.
No.
No, the Browns.
Where I watched the overtime against Tennessee, and I was just like, just one. Just
Also,
one win.
why are they benching Deshaun Kaiser? Just
Because
That
it's
doesn't
the
make any sense.
it's the
he's
Browns.
21 years old.
The
and
one
he can
game you
go to
might
the
win
bar
is
out at night.
the one game you might win is San Diego, maybe.
Yeah, we'll beat the Chargers again, maybe. I mean, the fact though that the NFC, the teams leading the divisions are Philly, Minnesota, New Orleans, and LA. Who would have thought that was going to happen? Almost halfway
LA
through the
looks
season.
good.
Rams,
LA and Jacksonville look really good.
Sean McVay, great
Bortles
coach.
and Goff both look really good.
Yeah, Jacksonville is looking pretty solid. But I'm going to move on to my final thought. It still pertains to the NFL, but it's more of a debate. Because sticking with the Browns, our best player in the
Bears
last
finished
decade.
13-3.
Oh, goodness. We'll see. Browns' best player, Joe Thomas, did get injured on
11-5.
Sunday against Tennessee. So Joe Thomas's snap streak is going to break because he's missing the rest of the season.
Who is this snap streak with?
So,
That's what I thought of immediately. It's a reference, Snapchat reference, folks.
okay. So Joe Thomas snapped.
We have to end the show on that.
Joe
we
Tom-
can't keep going.
Yeah, no. Joe Thomas Snapchatted Deshaun Kaiser 10,363 consecutive times, and he played in 10 consecutive Pro Bowls.
Oh, that was unbelievable. How fast that was. That was like
That's
that.
the first thing I thought of when you said it.
I did type snap. Okay, fine. You got me there. Completely got me. Well, I don't know. I don't know where I can go with this. I'm gonna have to try and get you guys back on track. I'm gonna do my
It's
best.
not possible.
No, it's possible
I'm
because
done. I'm checked out.
no. Okay, I'm gonna recheck you in. I think Joe Thomas's streak of plays that he played in consecutively
He did do that.
might be the best in sports history. I think you have to put it in the conversation.
Yeah, I think because especially with you see how often linemen get hurt, it's definitely very impressive.
I mean, this is his first time injured in his 11-year career, and he's missing the rest of the season. He played 10,000 consecutive plays.
Every time you laugh, it makes me laugh.
I'm sorry. I thought I could just laugh to myself in peace without disrupting everybody. But
I'm
okay, I
even saying
apologize.
I'm even saying this Joe Thomas streak is more impressive than one Brett Favre's consecutive start streak at QB, and I think it's better than
What was
Cal
Favre's?
like 200 plus games consecutive QB. I think it's better than Cal Ripken's streak too. I think it's more impressive than Cal Ripken.
I think it is. I think
It's got to be talked about. It's definitely.
It's got to be talked about. I think it's like Tommy said, linemen go down all the time. So just the fact that he's been this durable all the time, and he's left tackle, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So I mean, you got the best edge rushers coming at you all the time. So, I mean, yeah, I'll say it. I mean, I think that's the best streak. Ripken's close, and I think, like Tommy said, it's got to be in the conversation. But baseball's a different sport than football too. I mean, football's just so violent and.
But I think you can compare the two because you can just see which one might be more impressive. Like for Joe Thomas, you're getting a head-on collision 10,000 consecutive times over an 11-year span, whereas Cal Ripken Jr. playing in 2,000 consecutive baseball games, you're not bashing heads.
2,000 is a lot.
2,000's a
That's a
lot.
lot.
I still think the most impressive streak in sports history, it has to be the 56-game hitting streak by Joe DiMaggio because that is never,
That's
ever,
unbelievable.
ever going to be broken. You're literally getting a hit for almost 2 months straight.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I think it's DiMaggio, Joe Thomas. Those are my top two.
I don't think that it's ever possible that that'll happen again, especially in modern baseball, considering how good these pitchers have gotten.
Yeah.
Like that's unbelievable.
I mean, neither of these records will ever be touched again. I mean, and it's not ever going to be close. I think who was the closest for DiMaggio streak? Jackie Bradley Jr. a couple years ago.
Last
I
year.
think he got.
Jimmy Rollins
he
had
got
like
37, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins had like 36 in the mid 2000s.
So I mean, I think those are
pitchers are too good now.
right.
Also,
There's so many
hit-
strikeouts,
also-
and hitters don't care about getting on base as much.
Yeah, it's not really average much. It's a lot about the home runs. I mean, Jose Altuve is like the exception. He's the only guy we're seeing in baseball. That
I think
can hit
Altuve
360.
could possibly do it.
He's the only one I could see
be
getting close, but I just don't see it happening.
But the fact that he hasn't even gotten
Javi?
through like to
Javi Baez,
I'm kidding.
57
I'm
consecutive
kidding.
game
Maybe
hitting
57
streak.
consecutive games with strikeouts, but
He probably already broke that.
But Altuve hasn't even gotten close though. Like we haven't even
No,
heard
I know.
rumblings about it. He's probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
His best hitting streak is probably like 20.
You start hearing about it around 20 though. Like usually that's when the rumblings start. I mean, it
I'm
doesn't
looking
even
at
seem
this
like
on
he's
his
gotten
history.
close.
I think that Joe Thomas' streak is the most impressive in football for sure. Out of all the other football
Yeah,
streaks,
I would
you could
agree with
think
that.
of. Better than Brett Favre. Whoever holds the streak for most consecutive games with a touchdown. There's a lot of streaks that we can't even remember or think of. But like, I think of the 4 biggest streaks, out of the big sports in North America. I think Joe Thomas, Brett Favre, Joe DiMaggio, and Cal Ripken Jr. Because even Luke Gehrig's record, the fact that Cal Ripken broke that record is pretty crazy to me too. So. Joe Thomas is probably going to be the only Browns Hall of Famer in my lifetime. I'm saying it right now, even though there's another.
Wow, that's super
I
pessimistic.
know another another 100 years, and maybe Joe Thomas is the only Hall of Famer in Browns history while I am alive.
No Josh Gordon.
Don't
I'm
talk.
sorry.
That hurts. That hurts worse than the Yankees because
He should be.
Oh
so good.
God, Josh Gordon! I was
be.
at the Jacksonville game. It's the second NFL game I went to.
must have
Browns
been a- that
Jaguars.
must have been a
The
riveting game.
95-yard touchdown, and I was going insane. It was so exciting.
He's awesome.
He's got so much talent, but he doesn't want to give up drugs. And it's like, dude,
Big
put
drug
down
guy.
the joint, play some football. Like, come on, man. He's just-
I saw a funny idea that every quarterback that Joe Thomas has blocked for, they should make them sit at his Hall of Fame ceremony, just like front row.
They should.
Oh God.
You need a long row. It'd be like a 40-seat row at that point because Joe Thomas is going to play at least
could
like
hold it
9
in
more
Brown
years.
Stadium.
You could hold it in. Well, yeah, you'd have like one section dedicated to quarterbacks. That'd be like 10,000 seats.
There'd be more quarterbacks than fans.
Yeah, there'd probably be more quarterbacks than family members is probably the biggest comparison. Because he might get up to like 40 QBs by the time Joe Thomas retires. Because he's
How
going
old
to
is
come
he?
back. Joe Thomas, 11 seasons in the league. He's probably like mid-30s. He's getting up
it's
there.
gotta be.
So he's got a couple more years left. Maybe not 20 years in the league. Maybe like 15 or 16.
He is 32.
32. Oh, he's got a couple more years. I think he could play 7 more
large.
seasons. He is the bright spot of this Browns franchise over the last decade, and it's just a shame to see him injured.
I did
and
not
see his
realize he went to
streak snapped.
Wisconsin.
He did go to Wisconsin. He was the 3rd pick in the draft, and you know where he was? He was fishing with his dad in the middle of a lake. He wasn't
Very
even,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, he wasn't even in a suit. And didn't
is
go to.
very Wisconsin.
And guess who was drafted first? Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, R.I.P.
That was the Jamarcus Russell draft. So Browns actually made the right decision there.
I have no idea. What
Do you
draft
think?
was that?
Do you think if they had the number one
2007.
pick, you think if they had the number one pick, they would have taken?
We would
Jamarcus?
have taken Jamarcus number 1 if we had the number 1 pick. Knowing us.
Just curious if you want to give them that credit or not.
1,000% they would have.
Yeah.
The second, Calvin Johnson.
Oh yeah, Calvin
okay.
Johnson was the
That's a
second pick,
good
which is
draft.
another. That was a pretty solid draft.
AP at 7.
Yeah, AP at 7. That was a very good draft.
Ted Ginn Jr. at 9.
I love Ted Ginn Jr. I love that man.
This was sweet.
There was a lot
Marshawn
of good
at
players.
12.
Yeah, a lot of good players in
Probably
07.
14.
We're running a bit out of time here. I'm just gonna give my quick.
Oh,
yeah.
you know who the Browns drafted as a quarterback in that draft?
Oh God.
Brady Quinn.
The legend.
Brady Quinn. God,
wow.
I shouted, "We want Brady" in that opening game that season against Pittsburgh. That was fun. That was.
He should have been so good.
Yeah, I think
Browns ruined him.
I forgot.
As they're like
Charlie Fry started that opener, and then Derek Anderson led us to 10 wins that year. That was like the best season the Browns had. Quick shout out to the Phoenix Suns, who are imploding completely. They fired their coach yesterday after 3 games. Eric Bledsoe got sent home from practice today. So just wanted to throw out there, this is probably one of the worst starts to an NBA season I've ever seen from a team, any team overall. You fire your coach, one of your best players is demanding a trade. Oh, God. So tough to be a Browns fan, but I think it's worse to be a Phoenix Suns fan right now, as Tommy and Jake are mumbling amongst themselves about this
We're
draft
talking
class.
that draft.
Also,
I know, I gotta look at
I
it.
just remembered that moment that Tommy said that awful joke. It's going to be great for on camera.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
going to be great for
Send
TV.
us that clip. We need a. Oh, great clip though was when we were all watching the baseball while the credits are rolling on that show. You guys should watch. That was when I got pumped about
What-
the Yankees.
what day was that?
That was 2 weeks ago. That Monday.
good radio.
So it was pretty funny. But anyways, for Jade, Tommy, Jake, and Will, I'm Ori Benatar. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for another edition of Illini Drive, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info, fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI-1. Have a good evening, and make sure to tune in again at 6 p.m. tomorrow right here on WPGU 107.1.